Well, when the Saints go marching in, oh, how I'd like to be in St Albans. And on that note, during Female Football Week, a very, very warm welcome to you wherever you may be. My name is Tonchi Prusats. I am the host of DinamoTV, and what a way to start. And those were the girls from the Under-11 Mini Roos team. They won their first game on the weekend. Congratulations to all the players and to their coach Marijana Kvesic. And just for the record, these are the girls: Lijana Babic, Adriana Gazic, Sofia Grgic, Abigail Hajina, Isabella Hajina, Nikolina Kozul, Melsi Mengian, Nada Milicevic, Tiana Mitrevski, Jelena Paulush, Tiana Peric, Mia Rajov, Anna Smolic, and Zoe Ivezic. Well done, girls. Well done, coach. That's a fantastic way to start what is arguably going to be the biggest show that we've ever had on DinamoTV. And let me just tell you, folks, if you don't already know, if you haven't been following our social media platforms this afternoon, we've got a massive show. First of all, we're going to get Football Victoria CEO Chris PEHLIVANIS. He's going to be joining us a little bit later on. But before that, we're going to be hearing from our president, ILIJA DRAGICEVIC, and a representative of the 2024 Australian-Croatian Soccer Tournament Organising Committee, MARKO BUTORAC. They will be talking to us about the date change, and there's a few other tournament updates there as well. And also, Ilya will have a very special message for all the mums out there, that's for sure. We'll be speaking to our new senior men's NPL coach who was appointed this week, Cameron Watson. Cameron has joined us exclusively here on DinamoTV. He too will be coming on a little bit later on in the show. And we'll also be announcing who last week's Senior Women's Player of the Week winner was. So there is so much to be to get through this hour of DinamoTV. So without further ado, we're going to hear a couple of words from our major sponsor, the I&D Group, and after that, it'll be time for the news desk. Folks, don't go away.
The I&D Group is regarded as one of the largest deliverers of concrete structure solutions in Victoria. Formed in 1994 by Ivan and Kathy Filipovic, their passion and commitment to getting the job done safely and economically has underpinned their success in the industry. I&D partners with large-scale building and construction companies in both the private and public sectors on projects large and small. With our corporate headquarters based in South Melbourne and storage yard based in the southeast suburbs, we have at our disposal thousands of square metres of quality materials, along with state-of-the-art lifting and crane equipment, enabling us to deliver the largest projects. We are committed to delivering high-quality projects by partnering with our clients and collaborating with project suppliers to ensure each job is delivered to exceed expectations. From humble beginnings, I&D now employs more than 1,200 dedicated professional and support staff, involved in a number of landmark projects right across Victoria. The I&D Group is a massive supporter of the Croatian community, backed soccer clubs in Victoria, and is proud to be the major sponsor of the St Albans Dinamo Football Club in 2024.
It's time for the news desk, and with the senior men's, it wasn't the best, result that we could probably hope for, but nonetheless, we'll just whiz through this very, very quickly. There was, against Green Gully, maybe it was the earlier time slot that just didn't work with our boys, but unfortunately, it was a 4-0 loss, and the final game with Paul Donnelly at the helm of the team. We wish Paul all the very, very best. Thank you for Paul. If you are tuning in tonight, thank you so much for all of your cooperation, collaboration while in the short term while you were interim coach. And we thank him sincerely for everything he has done over the past 2.5 years here at Dinamo. This week, we've got a new coach at the helm. And as we mentioned at the top of the program, Cameron Watson will be joining us a little bit later on. He was this week appointed the senior men's head coach, and his assistant will be Billy Selesky, and they go back a long, long time ago. So the big game this week against the top team, South Melbourne. That game kicks off at 3 p.m. On Sunday at Churchill Reserve, with the under-23s kicking off at 12:30 p.m. And if we go to the ladder for the men's NPL seniors, it's not a pretty picture at the moment. We're currently in second last position on the competition standings. 2 wins and 1 draw and 9 losses from our 12 games so far. But, you know, they always say the most dangerous team to come up against is a team that has just changed this coach during the week. And we certainly hope that that is going to be the case. If ever the boys need our support as supporters, it's this Sunday, that's for sure. The under-23s, they lost 5-2 or 2-5. The goal scorers, Luca Chabraya scoring his 5th goal of the season, Nicholas Murray scoring his 8th goal of the season. So well done to those 2 lads. They continuously are finding the back of the net. So that is great to see. Over to the women's. Okay, great. Well, if the men aren't doing it, the women certainly are. And they are really leading the charge during Female Football Week. Last Friday night, what a thriller that was. A 8-goal thriller, a high-scoring affair at Churchill Reserve. And our girls ended up defeating Altona East 5-3. Wonderful result. Congratulations to the Dinamo women. Jana Cholina, last week's Player of the Week. Well done, Jana. She managed to score 2 goals. Sienna Delia, ALANA MOVRIC, and Katie Pham scored singles apiece. This week, the girls are up against Sydenham Park tomorrow night at Keilor Lodge Reserve. A huge game if you can get down there. 6:30 p.m. kickoff. It's going to be an important game for our women's team, round 4. And it's pretty much a battle for top spot. Sydenham Park dropped points last week. I think it was Altona City that they drew 1-1 against. And they find themselves in equal second spot along with our DinamoTV. There's a new word, I guess. But it is the fact that Dinamo has scored 1 goal more than Sydenham Park. Same goal difference and everything. And Westgate at the moment at the top of the competition standings with 3 wins from 3 games. Now, late breaking news with regards to the Women's State League 2 competition. Lara United, who was on the bottom of the competition standings, they have unfortunately been forced to withdraw their team from State League 2 simply because they are unable to field enough teams for a squad. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but the Division 2 now has gone to 9 teams. So whenever someone is fixtured to play against Lara United, they will find themselves having a week off with the draw. That team is Westgate this week. So basically, whoever wins tomorrow's game between Dinamo and Sydenham Park will go to the top of the competition standings. All right, turning our attention now to the Junior Boys NPL. Last week was round 1 of the proper season, of the home and away proper season. The under-14s 0-0 draw against Geelong. The under-15s went down to Werribee City 1-3. The 16s drew 2-2 with Caroline Springs George Cross, and a big win for the 18s, who absolutely destroyed Bendigo City to the tune of 10-0. In the 14s, Dinamo coming up against Box Hill. 15s, Bendigo City versus Dinamo. That game's up in Bendigo at the Epsom Huntley Reserve. The under-16s, Dinamo at home against Box Hill. That's at Churchill Reserve, 11:30 p.m. kickoff. So the 14s and the 16s will be at home, and the under-18s travel away to Campbell Reserve to take on Moreland City. Social functions coming up at the club. Big hello to everyone there at the club who may be tuning in to us. Tonight it is the sold out Mother's Day banquet. So to all the mums in the Dinamo family who are either at the club rooms tonight or at home watching us, a big shout out to you all and a big thank you for everything that you do for your sons, your husbands, your boyfriends, your whoever else, grandkids. Thank you so much for just being mums. And as we said, sold out buffet night tonight. The club rooms are absolutely chockers tonight. So big cheerio to everyone there inside the Dinamo club rooms. Now, if you missed out on the Mother's Day function, the Pork Fest is coming up on Friday, the 24th of May from 6 p.m. There's going to be live music. You must. It's highly desirable that you do book in advance. There's the number on the screen. Contact Anna on 0401 505 100. And as we mentioned, it is Female Football Week, so we think we celebrate Female Football Week from the 3rd till the 12th of May. It's a nationwide initiative to celebrate the immense growth of women's football at all levels of the game and acknowledge and promote women's important role in developing our game. Before we forget, now last Sunday, speaking of women, last Saturday, it was the A-League Women's Grand Final. And we had a pretty strong presence there at Amy Park. And here we've got some of the photos of some of the ladies and the young girls that were representing Dinamo and did such a good job. And they also managed to have a walk around the field there prior to the actual final itself. So lots happening at the club. We'd like to thank you once again for tuning in tonight. We've even got a viewer there from Adelaide. So Ivan Turkel, lip pozdrav iz Adelaida. In Croatian, he's saying top warm greetings from Adelaide. So thank you to everyone who's tuning in. By the way, folks, make sure you do pop in where you're from, where you're from, and we really appreciate. We really want to know exactly where you're from, and pop that in the comments section. We would like to. We're going to take a little bit of a break, I think, and when we do come back, we're going to hear from the president himself, ILIJA DRAGICEVIC, and also MARKO BUTORAC on the new date for the Australian-Croatian soccer tournament and also any other updates. It's DinamoTV you're watching, folks. Don't go away. Welcome back to DinamoTV, and what a way we are going to start tonight's show. It's going to be an absolute jam-packed show. Some A-grade guests coming on tonight, and we're starting from the top. We're gonna have the president ILIJA DRAGICEVIC joining us, and also a representative of the Australian-Croatian, the 2024 Australian-Croatian Soccer Tournament Organising Committee, MARKO BUTORAC. Gentlemen, good evening. How are we?
Hi, Toji, and all the viewers.
Yeah, now we're coming from live from the change rooms because there's a lot going on at the club tonight. We've obviously got the Mother's Day banquet. So first of all, Ilya, I'm sure you'd like to wish all the Dinamo mothers for Mother's Day a very, very happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, we do wish all the mums at our club and all the other associated clubs in our community a happy Mother's Day, and hope you have a lovely Sunday.
Yeah, unfortunately, the internet reception, obviously, there at the bowels of the Dinamo change rooms is a little bit static. Is a little bit poor, but we're going to try and get through this, guys. The reason you guys have come up on the show tonight is because, of course, the Australian-Croatian soccer tournament. Look, following last Friday's vote of the member clubs, can you please explain to our Dinamo supporters what led to the change? Maybe Budo, I guess over to you first. Is that right?
From a process point of view, we've been working closely as a committee, as an organising committee with Dinamo and also with the Savers, and so this is actually the second vote of the members, and it was something that we took to the members at the start of the year, and unfortunately, in a vote of 12-12, we weren't able to get it over the line. And as the year progressed, and as numbers and budgets became more realistic, as we were talking to our members and our supporters, and they're the ones that are going to be helping build the structures and mark the lines and cook the cevape, we were just coming with a lot of roadblocks, and in particular the current weekend of Tawny being the week after our traditional Victorian long weekend. And more recently, we became aware that our Dinamo's major sponsor and sponsor across Australia, and predominantly Victoria, IND Group, were also celebrating their 30th gala night on the same night as our gala. So we spoke to the Savers, and through conversations, we requested a second SGM, and we're thrilled really that we've got support from the clubs, and they understood where we're coming from. We're able to provide more detail in regards to budget, financials, and traditionally pre-2020, the tournament and budgets looks very different to what it is now. And for those watching online, that they really understand, and anyone that's in construction or hospitality, you know through your own businesses, things have just gone up by 30%. So we're really thankful that the vote took place last week. We obviously would have liked to have been done, last year or have this sorted, but it is what it is. And now we're really focused on, we are solution focused as we lead into the next couple of months.
Yeah, Ilya, did you have anything to add to that?
Well, yeah, definitely. Tonchi, as a club, we've sort of worked with this tournament committee, and the facts are that the real costs come through in the last 3 or 4 months. Like I said, we tried and we accepted the vote the first time. We really did try and make it work that weekend, but we kept finding that we were putting ourselves in a really uncomfortable position, and no one was feeling comfortable about hosting the tournament on that weekend with all the roadblocks, all the information that was presented to us. Money-wise, volunteers, we felt that we were lacking volunteers for that weekend, and that just was going to be impossible to come up with a model that we had confidence in, knowing how much money we're going to have to put on the line and spend. And thankfully, we've gone through the process with the Sabres and all the clubs, I think, understand why it's happened, and the way it's gone about happening, and we're really thankful and hoping that all the clubs can now see our point of view, accept the point of view, and really concentrate on making this tournament a successful and memorable tournament that we can all look back on with years to come.
Yeah. Look, with the date now set, what can players and supporters expect across the weekend? I guess, Budo, that's a question for you. You're the on behalf of the organising committee.
Yeah, I guess the most important thing, Tonchi, is it gives us confidence, and it gives us the ability to give 100%. And it was really, it didn't quite feel like that prior to the vote. So we're confident with the volunteer numbers. We're confident that with the Friday off, we'll expect a lot of locals in particular to come and enjoy themselves, and also on a Saturday morning and the Thursday night. Traditionally, that they would have been working, whether it's construction or other. So we're really excited that we can press ahead. We're confident in that weekend. All our planning has led up to, the traditional date. So all we're doing at the moment is really adjusting. And we're really excited that in the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to make some significant updates on DinamoTV exclusively about our Friday night, the Saturday gala, and a couple of exciting initiatives coming through for this year's tournament.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it is going to be a massive, massive event. Certainly the biggest show this year. And Ilya, have you got any last words you'd like to say as president of our club to everyone who's watching this show?
Well, yes, I hope that everyone can now start planning ahead. Look, it's definitely going to be busy. It's definitely going to be Melbourne at its peak. that weekend, not only at our club but all over the town, Melbourne. So get in early. The clubs, please get your teams organised as soon as possible. That is one fact that we're still waiting on, and we know the deadline is June 30, where all the clubs get to put their teams in, and from there we can really then fine tune all our final details, and like I said, make this a tournament not only for the clubs of Melbourne, but really all the clubs of Australia, and make it a really, really memorable one.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for being a part of tonight's show. Really, really appreciate it, and very, very important messages there, not just for our club members, but also for the entire Australian-Croatian community ahead of what will be a big, big event on that last weekend of September.
Thanks, Tonchi.
Thanks, Tonch, and thank you to all the viewers for tuning in.
Happy Mother's Day, Mum.
Thanks, guys. That was ILIJA Dragicevic, the president of Dinamo St Albans, and also a representative of the Australian-Croatian Soccer Tournament Organising Committee, MARKO BUTORAC. Folks, we're going to be back after this. Welcome back to DinamoTV, and it is time now for our next guest, and it's an absolute pleasure to introduce our next guest. He is the newly appointed or recently appointed CEO of Football Victoria, and his name is Chris PEHLIVANIS, and he makes his debut on DinamoTV. Chris, good evening, and well, it's an honour to have you on the show.
Thank you, Tonchi. Thank you for inviting me, and looking forward to having a chat. And congratulations also for St Albans and the announcement previously about the Australian Croatian tournament that's going to be held over the day. I think I spoke to Ilija a couple of weeks back, and that was an objective of his, and I think that's a good outcome. And hopefully, Football Victoria can also assist and make that a special occasion.
Yeah, it's one day in September, the last day in September, or the last weekend of September. Who cares about that other sport? This is going to be the greatest show on earth. But mate, well, the last time I think we spoke, it was back in the Football Out West days when you were the CEO of Western United. Since then, you've stepped into the hot seat at Football Victoria, and you're the CEO there. How are you finding it, first of all?
Yeah, look, it's an honour to have that role. I think it's football. It's a different part of the ecosystem, and I think. In Victoria, especially, we've got so much passion around our game and so much opportunity. So with that comes a big responsibility, and I'm really up for the challenge. And hopefully, with the board and the staff and all that, we can really take this game forward. But most importantly, with our clubs, I think the benefit of having someone like me in the seat is I understand. What it takes to run a club, and therefore it's really important that we work together with our clubs to help them overcome their challenges.
Well, we wish you, mate, all the best on behalf of everyone at St Albans Dinamo. We certainly wish you all the very, very best in the coming years. Now, I guess one of the reasons why we've asked you to come on the show, and you so graciously have accepted, is one of the big achievements at the club in recent weeks, and a lot of this has to do with the good collaboration, the great collaboration with Football Victoria and Josephine Lapilla in particular, who has worked tirelessly with our own John Bilosh. But it's the Club Changer Certificate of Achievement, and we are so proudly announced this a few weeks ago that we had become a 2-star club. Now, Chris, I guess for those who aren't aware and are watching our show, and I guess there's a lot of people who are not Dinamo supporters, but tuning into this show tonight as well. What does it mean for a club like Dinamo to receive a 2-star club game changer rating, and what work goes on behind the scenes with Football Victoria and our clubs to be able to achieve this kind of a thing?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, congratulations, and I'm going to echo the work that Josephine and John have done in this space. I think it's critical. St Albans is now one of 9 clubs in Victoria that have achieved the 2-star rating. It's important. I mean, in respect to St Albans, a lot of work's gone in regarding safeguarding, regarding child safety, making sure we've got working with children checks, member protection, really making sure the environment that is being provided is one that is going to be conducive to growing the game and growing it in the way we want to make sure that we retain our players and especially our female players and keep growing it. And it's something that the club should be really proud about. To achieve the 2-star, the clubs are required to demonstrate and provide evidence of progression from 1-star, and in this case, to apply 3 additional key objectives and priority modules around the portal of the Australian Sports Commission, and then implement 6 to 8 additional safeguarding objectives. So the club's done that, and with the help of Josephine, and I think now we can build from that. And I believe also the club's growing their female participation in line with that as well.
Yeah, we've been certainly really happy with the way things have been going in that space. And Stepan Gal, who's one of our, I guess, one of the committee members responsible for the women's space as well, has just gone on about how the game has grown. And we saw those young girls right at the start of the show, the under-11s, and it's just so good to see just the joy on their faces, not just winning, but just being out there and representing themselves and the club, which is great. Chris, I guess, can you give us an example, maybe some of the goals that Football Victoria and Football Australia in general want to achieve with the whole program? So kind of what's the end game, I guess, result?
I think we've got to look at this at building stronger clubs. I think if we have that as an overall objective, I think it's critical. And we do that, with the aim to protect and enhance our clubs, to make them stronger and more resilient. Really what we're trying to do is making sure we lift the bar, making sure we have a positive environment for our players, our coaches, volunteers and officials to retain in the system longer term. Ultimately, as we go on our journey, we want to make sure, as a code, we're getting a lot of kids coming and playing our game. We then lose a lot of these kids throughout the pathway. And what's important is we a big focus of Football Victoria in our strategy that we're going to announce in a couple of months, and as we go through our stakeholder engagement, is really to focus on retention. And to do that, we need to lift the bar. We need to lift the bar in everything we do through coaching, refereeing, competitions management that we control. All that needs to be critical, so we don't have scores, for example, of 20-0 on a weekend. That's not good for the team, winning or losing. We need to make sure our coaches are giving the right messages. We need to make sure we've got the right change rooms. We need to do all that together. And as I say, I say this to everyone I speak to in this role, we're either going to succeed together or fail together. We want to be hand in hand with our clubs and really make our clubs even stronger across the board.
Yeah. Now, we did see some of the photos and we'll pop some of those photos up again. A lot of the Dinamo women's teams, female teams, girls teams, they had that opportunity to be part of the pre-game event at Amy Park just before the A-League Grand Final on Saturday. So that was, I guess, one of the benefits of this certification, I suppose. What are some of the opportunities and what are some of the other benefits that, the Level 2 Game Changer certification provides for clubs like ours and those other 8 clubs that you said in Melbourne that have achieved that status?
Yeah, as you said, it's going to give the younger girls opportunities to be halftime heroes at A-League men's matches, A-League women's matches. I think, if I'm not wrong, St Albans was also part of the Women's World Cup. I think they were flag bearers. So there's some of the, I guess, experiences, and hopefully we can provide more as part of that. I think funding opportunities will also come with it in terms of growing the football fund. I think that's something that will come across with this. Access to, FA webinars, Football Victoria opportunities as well in terms of some of the stuff that we want to do in terms of education and seminars. And, really important part of it is also volunteers task force. So giving opportunities to grow your volunteer base and then upskilling your volunteer base. So there's some of the benefits, but ultimately I think the biggest benefit is your club's going to be prepared to manage with growth. It's going to be prepared. This gives you an opportunity to really give your stakeholders and members a really good experience. The more you do in this space will help you ensure that every person that's stakeholder, that's player, that's being part of your club will have a more positive experience.
Yeah. This is putting you on the spot, maybe, but what do you know the names of the other clubs that have achieved the level 2 status in Victoria?
Yeah, my briefing, I didn't get the actual names. I know there's 9. There's 243 clubs that have got 1 star, and then there's 9. So that have got 2 star, and 11 clubs are working towards getting 2 star. So if you think about that, you guys are one of 9, and there's 243 that are still.
Wow.
So that's a big achievement. And as I said before, Josephine and John have done an amazing job, but the club should really be proud of that achievement.
Yeah, and it's there's a whole team there behind the scenes that have done such an incredible job, and it's too many to name. And if we did start naming them, we'll probably miss them, so we won't do that. All their efforts are so appreciated, and we thank them dearly. But it is great to see that recognition happening. But on a side note, are there any latest updates from Football Victoria with regards to any news? And this is an opportunity just to let us know what's happening there at FVHQ.
Yeah, as you said earlier, look, I started in this role a couple of months ago now. I think it's 4 months ago, and look, a lot's happening. Hopefully, a lot of change will happen over the coming months. But in terms of what we're trying to do, we're trying to lift the bar in all our key areas, and the key areas we've identified obviously are our clubs and competitions. We want to make sure we lift the bar there. We want to make sure our participants, we want to give everyone access. We want to make sure that if you want to play our game, you're going to have a really good experience. Ones that I'm hoping to ensure that a big focus of ours going forward is to bring in pride back into the state teams. So when you play for Victoria, I want that to be something that you're proud of and really you have an amazing experience and gives you an opportunity to obviously further your career. So, so I think that's important. In terms of the biggest thing I've had in my first 3 months talking to clubs is the support they require with facilities.
Yep.
So again, I think I touched on it before. I want to make sure that everyone at Football Victoria is working with our clubs to either succeed or fail in this space together. I don't want clubs doing this alone anymore. They need to partner with us. We want to work together to ensure that we really make a dent in this and really get what we deserve as a game, and ensure that we have enough facilities and the correct facilities to deal with the growth that's going to come. We're hitting numbers now over 90,000 participants this season, which is significant growth. I think in the female space we've had over 30% growth. So if you look at that, arguably by the end of next season we'll be at 100,000 participants, and that's going to be a significant record for our game. But we need to be sure that we're ready for that, and that's something that I guess we want to focus on.
Yeah, and I guess facilities, coaches as well. That's another thing as well. But at the end of the day as well, the volunteers and speaking of volunteers, a big cheerio to all the people working hard in the club rooms tonight for our big Mother's Day buffet dinner. It's a sold out event ahead of Mother's Day. And Mother's Day, this is a big day for all the mums, all the carers out there. We wish them all the very best on Sunday. Another thing that's probably going to be of great interest to a lot of our viewers and probably affects us directly at the moment is the proposed B League. Has there been much talk, or has there been any updates with regards to the B League, and probably more importantly, how that could affect the Victorian clubs, particularly in the NPL and VPL?
Yeah, it's a good question. Look, unfortunately, we haven't been provided a lot of updates in this space, and it's been a little bit of a frustration of ours. I mean, at the start of the season, I've made a commitment that I don't want to be changing the goalposts throughout the season. That's happened in the past, and as a result, we had to come out and make some rules about the consequences of the proposed B League. But it's difficult when you don't know what it's going to look like, how many Victorian teams are going to be in there. Is it 3, is it 4, is it 5, is it 6, whatever the number. Is it going to start next season, is it not? So we think we've catered for that in our announcement we made at the start of the season. We're hopeful that the B League occurs, especially for the clubs that are aspiring to be there. But we need to make sure that the football community and the football environment are aware of the proposed changes as soon as possible. We're lobbying Football Australia for that, so we can prepare accordingly for next season. So that's our number one priority. So sorry I can give you more details, but unfortunately, that's all I have at the moment.
Yeah. Chris, thank you once again for coming on DinamoTV on our club podcast. As a club, I'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of everyone club to thank you, Football Victoria, and a special mention to Josephine Lapila. She's an absolute gem, and she so works hard. And has had so many meetings with the club, not just on the Game Changer, but about other things as well. And we're not the only club. We understand she works so hard across the Western region, but it's been a huge thing. And you know, working with her, I know John Bilosh, our vice president, has said how much he cherishes that working relationship, and it's come to fruition. So thank you to her, and thank you to yourself for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tonchi. Thank you for the opportunity. I also want to wish all the mothers out there a happy Mother's Day for this weekend. And it's Female Football Week too. So all our, female footballers and everyone involved in the female game, I just want to say a big thank you to.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for being part of that. There we go. It's going from the 3rd to the 12th of May. St Albans Dinamo celebrates Female Football Week. And here at Dinamo, we have Female Football Week all year round. But especially, it's great to be able to pay homage to all the female players, the female coaches, the volunteers as well. When we return, in fact, we'll be speaking to one who is a member of the senior football team, a senior women's football team, and she's the player of the week. But that'll be coming up after this week. Chris, once again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, folks, don't go away. It's DinamoTV. Still a lot to come. We'll be speaking to Cameron Watson, the newly appointed coach of the NPL senior men's team, and we'll also be announcing who our senior women's player of the week award winner is for this last week. The big win, 5-3 last week against Altona East. And after this short break, we'll find out who the player of the week was. Okay, and welcome back to DinamoTV, and we're going to talk women's senior football now, and it's time to now announce who last week's Player of the Week award winner was for the senior women's, and she's a first-time winner, and it is a very warm welcome to DinamoTV, and congratulations to ALANA MOVRIC. How are you, ALANA?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, now we're coming to you from the dressing rooms, live from the dressing rooms, by the way. And the internet connection isn't the best down there, but nonetheless, we'll try and get through this. Great start to the season, ALANA. 2 wins and a draw. You're at the moment in second spot. How's the mood been so far in the dressing rooms?
Yeah, the mood's been quite ecstatic, I could say. Everyone's very happy. Everyone's very excited. A couple people are nervous, but I feel like you get that with any season, nerves and going into games not versing other teams, just unsure of how other teams are going to play. But honestly, everyone's excited to play, so which is good.
Yeah, well, keep doing what you guys are doing because it's fantastic. But let's talk about your own performance. Player of the week against Altona East. Great win, 5-3. What high scoring goals. Well, if the senior men can't bring the 3 points, at least the ladies are doing it, and in Female Football Week. So once again, well done to you all. How were you pleased with your own performance? Obviously.
Well, speaking to the coaches, they've said that I played quite a good game. So just a shame my dad wasn't there to see. So he's very critical of me, and but no, I'm really happy with like my own performance as well as the girls. I think everyone did really, really well. So I applaud all the other girls that played as well. I think they did.
Well done. What position do you play, Alana, or what's your favourite position?
I'm being playing as a number 6, so I think that's been working well for me and get a bit of the ball and yeah.
Yeah, and do you enjoy kind of taking the ball, going for a bit of a dribble, or do you prefer sort of passing it? And do you play with your fellow midfielders there, or do you tend to go out into the wings?
When I can, I do try and take the ball forwards. Also, like with our training drills as well, like offloading and passing, we've been practicing a lot on that. So just looking at different opportunities when you get that play to obviously play the ball through, just making that call on the day. It's never the same thing, which is like you don't want to be predictable. So yeah.
Obviously, and with a surname like Movrich, you've got that the family's embedded in the DNA at Fox Street, that's for sure. But what did you? Well, has your dad found out that you've won the Player of the Week award?
What was that? Sorry.
Has your dad found out that you're the winner of this week's Player of the Week award?
I did mention it to him, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, good job." But sorry.
You probably didn't believe you. Well, now you can. Well done. Let's turn our attention now. Like I said, you're in second position at the moment after 3 rounds. Let's turn our attention now to this week's game. And if we bring up the fixtures for the senior men's and the senior women's, we can see there on the right-hand side, round 4, Women's State League 2, Sydenham Park taking on St Albans Dynamo. That's at Keilor Lodge Reserve this Friday at 6:30 p.m. Should be an absolute cracker of a game. They drew to Altona City 1-1 last week. Do you know much about Sydenham Park?
Previously, we have played them in a couple of friendlies throughout the past years. But as I said before, like every year's a new year, they've got different girls coming in and out, just as well as us as well. So, look, we take every game as it's going to be a hard game, and I think that's just how we're going to go through this week as well, and try our best and try and get the win as well.
Yeah. Now, in a bit of breaking news, it was just revealed earlier tonight that apparently Lara United has pulled out of State League 2, so that means there's only 9 teams in the competition. But they were on the bottom of the ladder, and it doesn't change the makeup up the top. It's still 2 teams that get promoted at the end of the season. Is that right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. And how are we looking in your eyes? Like, obviously, if we're going to go up to State 1, we'll need 2 teams. So we'll need a seniors and a resis team. What do you reckon? Can we by next year? Can we cobble together 2 senior women's teams?
Yeah, well, we've actually had a couple of the under 15, 16 girls training with us. So
awesome.
I think once they get obviously once they develop their skills, I'm pretty sure that we'd obviously like to go up. It's just that factor of making that second team. So we'd love to go up and hopefully those 15, 16 girls can step up and really push to make that reserves team for us.
That's awesome. Well, Alana, once again, congratulations on winning the Player of the Week award for last week. Well done to the team for taking all 3 points, and let's hope the girls can do the same this Friday night against Sydenham Park, at Keilor Lodge Reserve, 6:30 p.m. kickoff.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Good on you. Thank you. Alana Movrich there from the senior women's team. Welcome back to DinamoTV, and it's that moment we've all been waiting for when we get to meet the new gaffer. So this week, Cameron Watson was appointed as senior men's head coach of our NPL team, and it's an absolute pleasure. For the first time since being appointed, we get to chat to Cameron. And Cameron, welcome to DinamoTV. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. Once again, first of all, congratulations on your appointment. And, mate, let's get straight into it. Tell us a bit about your football experience. Let's start with your playing days. It started off at Bulleen, was it, as a junior?
Actually, my first junior club was Broadmeadows, Broadmeadows City. But, yeah, just started off there. My dad was coaching. And, yeah, I think it was about 7 or 8 and played there a few years until I got to, I think, 11. Yeah, 11 and went down to Thomastown because I had a couple of friends at school that were venturing off to play for them. So I got roped into going there, which was really good, and had some good junior success there, which was nice. And I was there for 2 or 3 years before heading to Bulleen, which was obviously a big kind of shift living in the northern suburbs and then traveling over to the east. Obviously quite a long time ago now. So yeah, and then really we had a really good strong junior team there, really successful, and a lot of those boys kind of ventured into the BIS when I went into the BIS as well, and just showed I guess the strength of Bulleen as a junior club back then. So yeah, I was there for 2 or 3 years, as well as playing with the BIS under Ernie Merrick and Darren Healy. And then I spent 2 years there under a scholarship, and then moved to Canberra, where I went to the Australian Institute of Sport, which was obviously another big move, big milestone. Just leaving.
How old were you when that happened?
I left. I was 17.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
And then you spent a couple of years in Europe, at Porto, and then at Vento, before coming back home, and you signed with our sister club, the Melbourne Knights, in 2007. So how was that European experience before you came back to Australian football?
Yeah, I went to Portugal. I went to Portugal first, which was great. Obviously, a massive club into their youth system, and that was I guess a great experience for myself. Something that I always wanted to do, to go and play overseas. So that was great. So I was there for a year, and then I went to Venlo in Holland in the second division, and got my contract, which was another milestone for myself, which was nice. Obviously very tough, but yeah, an experience that I'd never forget, because being such a young player in a foreign, you can see the hardships and what players go through at certain times. But overall, great experience. Would never change anything. And yeah, kind of play some more football, and that was the reason for Melbourne.
Yeah, so your first experience at a Croatian club, the Melbourne Knights, and now you're back at another one, so that's great to see. You also had an extensive experience in the A-League with Adelaide United and Newcastle Jets as well. And since you've hung up the boots, when was it? In 2022, you've started coaching, and that's where you coached at Hume City. Tell us the transition from player to coach, how you found it, and what are you most enjoying about coaching at the moment?
Yeah, I didn't plan to kind of go into a head coaching role straight away, or as quick as I thought it was, as quick as it happened. I was an assistant at Brunswick Juventus, and then went to Hume as an assistant, and then kind of fell into the head coaching role kind of at halfway last year. And then saw that season out, and then got to the pre-season for this season. That was like a main focus, and like something that I come to really enjoy, because I guess you get to kind of put your own team together. You kind of get to get the team to do what you want them to do, and everything's revolved around your plan, which was really fun and something that we really enjoyed as a coaching team. So yeah, look, it's I think I'm addicted now. Kind of like playing, you get kind of trapped in, and you don't want to miss a beat. So another thing I think I like most is just being I love the game. I just love being around football, and I enjoy seeing just kind of people have success on the park, and just kind of want to give any of my kind of experience information back to those that are playing at this level or whatever level it may be, and try and help them and help the club that I'm associated with.
Yeah, fantastic. And look, despite your youthful age, I mean, what, 36, is that right? You could still pull on the boots, wouldn't you?
Yeah, 36, 37. End of the month, I'm 37. So
yeah. You better watch out. Some of the social groups like St Albans Vukovar and Gorspic Bears even the Wednesday nights might come knocking on your door. That are also part of the Dinamo setup. But all jokes aside, your football relationship with Billy Selesky, that's coming to the club now. How did you guys hook up as a coach and assistant coach, and how do you find working with Billy?
So we've known each other for, I think, since I was around 15, 16. So we've known each other a long time, not as close as we are now, but have known each other for a long time. Then obviously played against each other on a number of occasions. And then when I finished playing and moved back to Melbourne, initially in 2018, we obviously our friendship got a lot closer and tighter. And when I got into the role at Hume, he kind of suggested if you want a hand to the end of the season, he was more than happy to come and help out. And I was like, yeah, well, I'd be stupid not to, considering the career that Billy's had and the knowledge that he possesses as well.
Yep.
So, and again, having a good friendship, I think that helps a lot, because I can trust him, and I think that's a big thing amongst us all, is that trust factor. So yeah, got him in straight away, and now he's got the bug as well. And it was I didn't have to ask him when I got this role if he was going to come, because it was a yes before I could even get it out. So, and yeah, look, we work well together. I think we have the same view on football, and again, we can challenge each other. We can question each other what we're doing, which is great, which is healthy. And yeah, look, it's so far it's been really good.
Yeah, well, we've got one Macedonian marvel looking after the junior section, our technical director, Nikola Markovski, who's also involved with Western United. Now we've got one at the senior level with Billy Selesky assisting you there, so great to see. Speaking of like Dinamo and at the senior level, what brought you to the club? What enticed you to come to the club, and what is it that you're most looking forward to during your time here at Churchill Reserve? And please don't say you're looking forward to the Chavapi.
Well, yeah, always. No, I think
it goes without saying.
Yeah, ultimately, I want to be coaching. Just it's something that I've got a real passion for now, and I love doing. And I just think through the discussions that I had with the club, and what their kind of short and long term goals are, what that plan is, kind of really stuck with me. And I think having that stability behind the football department is a big factor, I think, in the job I was going to go to. So, that ticked all the boxes. And, and away from that, I've always known a lot of people associated with the club. I know how kind of, rich and proud the history is. So They've always produced very good players. Obviously, a very good junior setup. A big junior setup, which is always healthy for a club, and it's run well. And I think they've got the right kind of steps in place to kind of keep progressing and doing well. And on top of that, it was I don't think they deserve to be in the position that they're in. But that happens. It's football. It happens to all clubs in all leagues. So it was just, okay, well, if I get the opportunity to come in, yes, I'm going to take that, because one, it's a challenge for everyone, but it's something that I think that can be achievable, and try and get, the club or the team moving kind of back in the right direction.
Yeah, awesome. Look, it's a baptism of fire. You were appointed earlier this week, and already this Sunday. The good news is it's at home. We haven't played at home for about 4 or 5 weeks, but the bad news is it's the top team, South Melbourne. We all know how tough South Melbourne are. Look, what are your thoughts about this Sunday's game, and how are you approaching it as a new coach?
Yeah, look, it's one thing, it's getting to know the team, our team, more personal on a more personal level, and kind of getting those things really sorted before Sunday. And you can't obviously get across everything into 1 week. That's impossible. So
Yeah.
That's our main focus, is really building that relationship with the players, getting our message across, hoping they understand, letting them know that they can ask us pretty much anything that they want to ask. We've got an open door policy, so but that is our real focus. Yeah, I think lucky enough that a lot of the players in the team have played South Melbourne enough to know what they're about, and it's they're still sitting top, and they're obviously they're ticking all the right boxes as a club and as a team, and they're a very, very good team, very strong, very physical, very powerful outfit. But in saying that, I think across the league, I think if you turn up on the day, you give yourself a chance of having some sort of success. So we just got to put them in the right position and give them the kind of foundation that they think they can go into on the weekend, and give themselves every opportunity to get a positive result.
Well, they always say the most dangerous team to come up against is a team that has just changed its coaches during the week. And let's hope that is the case for all of us Dinamo fans on a Sunday. Cam, all the very, very best, not just for Sunday, but for the rest of this season and beyond. And thank you for joining us here on DinamoTV.
Thanks, Don. Cheers, mate.
Good on you. Cameron Watson, the newly appointed senior men's NPL coach, and he'll be in charge of the senior men's team this Sunday at Churchill Reserve against table toppers South Melbourne.
Westar Prestige is a family-owned second-generation business which is celebrating 50 years of operations this year. They're a specialist prestige collision repair facility situated in the western suburbs of Melbourne, Victoria. However, they service all regions in the state, with many of their clients travelling from far and wide to use their services. They're also able to provide a digital platform for quoting clients' vehicles who are unable to personally attend their premises. They're an authorised manufacturer-approved repair facilities for Mercedes-Benz, Tesla, Peugeot and Suzuki, and are proud of their ongoing affiliation with these brands. They also work closely with a number of Australia's largest insurance brands who entrust them to be part of their preferred repairer network. Their support staff are always happy to assist clients from the initial process of lodging claims through to the final stages of collection of the vehicle on completion of repairs and post-repair. So remember, for all your prestige collision repair needs, consider Westar Prestige, an award-winning, long-standing Australian-owned business.
And that pretty much brings us to the very end of what has been a jam-packed episode of Dinamo TV, our 17th episode this year. How quickly is the year going by? Well, we had a few people in our chat sections there from interstate. A big shout out to all of those people from interstate. Tom Serpek, hi from the Gold Coast, he says, Dinamo TV, thank you for the podcasts. Thank you, Tom, for jumping on board and being a part of tonight's show. Ivan Turkal says, Leap pozdrav iz Adelaide. We already mentioned that means warm greetings from Adelaide, and all the way from Croatia, from the Istrian capital Pula. Tomislav Glavan says, pozdrav svima iz Pule. Greetings to all from Pula. Well, greetings to you, Tomislav. That brings us to the very, very end of the show of Dinamo TV. Thank you once again for being a part of tonight, and to all the mums and the female carers out there, a happy Mother's Day for this coming Sunday. Good night. Bye-bye.